divinely revealed. 3 sacred steps to your supernatural answer. Prophetic message for today. In the heart of a quaint English village, bathed in the golden light of dawn, news swept through the cobbled streets like wildfire. Mary, a devoted mother known for her steadfast prayers, was facing an unimaginable trial. Her eldest son, James, had been diagnosed with a grave illness that left doctors shaking their heads in disbelief. All hope seemed lost, yet Mary's faith held fast, even as despair edged closer. It was then, cloaked in grief, she turned her heart and mind towards heaven, seeking a divine answer. One Sunday morning, as familiar hymns filled the air and the scent of blooming wildflowers wafted through the open church windows, something extraordinary unfolded. The congregation, encircled by the stunning hills that cradled their village, began to sense an atmosphere charged with divine presence. Mary passionately prayed during the service, her heart open. Suddenly, a hush fell over the congregation. The pastor, moved by the Holy Spirit, spoke fervently, sharing that God had revealed to him 3 sacred steps to unlock a miraculous healing for James. The first step was to surrender completely with unwavering faith. The second instructed them to gather as a community and pray relentlessly. And the last, dare to act as though the healing had already occurred. Goosebumps gripped Mary's arms. Could it be? Could this message truly herald healing? Yet, as she pondered sharing the prophetic word, doubts crept in. Would villagers question her, dismissing her worn faith as folly? In her heart, she felt the heavy weight of a mother's love collided with the reality of science's grasp. How could she believe in miracles when the world around her leaned so heavily on facts? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With renewed hope bolstered by her pastoress' unwavering belief, Mary gathered her family, laying the prophetic 3 steps bare before them. To her surprise, their hearts ignited with fervor as they joined together, praying through the darkness that threatened to engulf them. But just as they set forth on their divine journey, a setback struck, as though shadows swallowed their light. James's condition took a sharp turn for the worse, and Mary sank to her knees, consumed with despair. The church, sensing her struggle, rallied again. The faithful flooded the sacred space with passionate prayers for mercy. Their cries pierced the heavens, echoing through the rolling hills, and then, just when hope felt like a weary traveler, James, lying frail yet resolute, suddenly stirred. An energy unfathomable spread through him, and with a gasp, he rose, healed beyond all measure. The church fell silent before bursting into jubilant praises. Mary wept tears of joy, her heart alight. As the village celebrated this miraculous answer to their prayers, a profound realization washed over Mary. What was God's true timing? What could this miracle mean for them? Would they continue to trust in his plans, even in uncertainty? These questions danced in the air, igniting an exhilarating hunger for divine revelation among the villagers. Their journey together had only just begun. As the joyous sounds of celebration enveloped the village, Mary's heart swelled with gratitude. She gazed around her, taking in the beaming faces of neighbors whose faith had fanned the flames of hope. Yet, amidst the elation, a flicker of uncertainty tugged at her spirit. This miraculous healing had sparked not only joy but also the desire for deeper understanding. What more did God want to reveal? With James now fully healed, the church had become a sanctuary of vibrant faith. People who had once walked beside her in quiet despair now held hands, united by a shared experience of divine possibility. They flocked to Mary, eager to hear the story of James's revival, their eyes glinting with a mix of awe and curiosity. "Tell us again, Mary," an elderly woman implored gently, her lined face glowing with wonder. "How did you know to take those steps?" Mary paused, reflecting on her journey. It was never just me, she began. It was faith woven through prayer, through each of you. God used our collective belief to bring forth this miracle. Her voice quivered with emotion, resonating with the power of testimony. One by one, the villagers began to share their own moments of doubt and fear, their voices intermingling in an orchestra of vulnerability. Each story echoed a deep human experience, revealing how often life's trials seemed insurmountable. Yet through it all, a stronger belief emerged: their God was listening, ready to act in the most astonishing ways. In the weeks that followed, the village became a place of miracles beyond James's healing. Marriages mended, lost loved ones were found, and even physical ailments began to fade away. The once muted church bells rang out joyously, echoing through the hills, reminding all that God was alive and present among them. Yet, the more miracles poured forth, the deeper the questions became. What was the secret behind this powerful transformation? Why had God chosen now to move among them? These thoughts clouded Mary's mind, igniting an insatiable desire for divine understanding. She walked by the riverbank one evening, the sun setting in brilliant hues of orange and pink. She knelt by the water. "Lord," she whispered, her voice trembling with earnestness, "what do you wish me to do next? How do I lead my people toward this boundless faith you have shown?" At that moment, a ripple surged through the water. Mary felt a warmth envelop her, as if the very presence of God had surrounded her. Images danced in her mind of people in need, of actions yet to be taken, and of mysteries waiting to be revealed. "Trust me," she heard, a gentle yet firm whisper brushing against her soul. Now is the time to venture further. With a renewed fervor, Mary rushed back toward the village, her heart alight with purpose. The flame of hope was not meant to dwindle but to become a beacon for others. As she gathered the community that very night, the excitement palpable in the air, she felt that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary. But as they formed a circle and lifted their voices in prayer, a sudden hush fell over the crowd. Shadows loomed at the edges of the village, thick and foreboding. Unexplainable anxieties tugged at their hearts. What might lie ahead? Would they have the strength to face whatever challenges awaited? Would they be willing to step into the unknown, trusting that God's plan would unfold right before them? The seeds of divine adventure were sown, yet only time would tell how deeply they would grow. "Prepare yourselves," Mary called out, the thrill of anticipation shining in her eyes. God is about to reveal even more. And in that moment, a powerful question hung in the air, igniting curiosity within each soul present. What extraordinary journey awaited them just beyond the horizon? The night air was thick with an electric anticipation as Mary stood before her community, each face illuminated by the flickering glow of lanterns. Her heart raced, her spirit charged, sensing the weight of what was unfolding. Just as the last echoes of their prayers faded into the stillness, she felt an urgency wash over her. "Tonight," she began, her voice strong yet tender, "we must prepare for what lies ahead. Our journey doesn't end here, it's only just begun." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, eyes shining bright with hope and uncertainty clashing together as they gazed at her. Mary saw more than faces. She saw potential, a living tapestry of divine promise waiting to be woven into something magnificent. She took a breath, focusing not on the shadows, but on the fire within each heart ringing with faith. "Let us seek God together, not just as individuals, but as one united body." She called them to gather closer, encircling the lantern's light. Each person's presence felt sacred, like pieces of a puzzle, meant to fit together for a greater purpose. "Let us share our fears tonight," she urged softly, the weight of the unknown barely breaking the surface of their gathering. One by one, villagers stepped forward. A father spoke of his worry for his son, a farmer shared the ache in his soul for his failed crops, and a widow voiced her loneliness beneath a heavy night sky. Each fear, voiced aloud, became a thread in their communal fabric, woven tight through empathy and love. Then, as they shared, a remarkable shift began to occur. The lamplight seemed brighter, the air shimmered with a palpable energy. "Look," exclaimed a young woman, her eyes wide as if she had just seen the very light of heaven. "Can you feel that?" It's as if he's right here among us. Mary nodded, encouraged by her words. Yes, this is what we've been waiting for. In our brokenness, we find strength. And in our fears, we uncover faith. Tears glistened in many eyes, heartache transforming into shared resolve. They knew that their journey wouldn't be a tidy path of joy. Darkness would come and go, but they would face it together. As the night wore on, a sense of clarity emerged. Let us not just seek answers, but let us seek his face, Mary declared. Let us pray intentionally, not for what we desire alone, but for understanding wisdom for what is to come. They bowed their heads, each person becoming a vessel of prayer. The murmurs of their voices rose like incense, a sweet fragrance to the heavens. A warmth enveloped them, and suddenly it felt as if the very presence of God was uniting their spirits. In the midst of prayer, a silence filled the gathering. It was deep, divine, a pause that seemed to stretch through time itself. Then, from within the stillness, Mary's heart began to race again. A fresh image appeared in her mind, a vision of the village's future, blossoming under the hand of providence. God is showing us something, she exclaimed, her voice ignited with excitement. We must be prepared. For every miracle we have experienced, there will be challenges as well. The villagers exchanged glances, anticipation building once more. Were they truly ready to face both the miracles and the trials? The thought hung heavy in the air. What would it take to be prepared for the next chapter? With hope blossoming, Mary sensed they were on the edge of a far greater adventure. But what awaited them beyond the horizon? Full of potential and perhaps peril. Only time and their unwavering faith could reveal the answers. In that electrifying moment, a collective question emerged, reverberating in each heart. How do we prepare our souls for all that God is about to do? The lanterns flickered gently in the cool night breeze, casting warm glows on the attentive faces of the villagers. As the air thickened with anticipation, Mary sensed a collective heartbeat, not just of the community gathered, but of something much greater, the pulse of divine purpose. Friends, she began, her voice steady, we stand at a crossroads. The path ahead might be shrouded in mystery, but it is illuminated by the faith we share. We are not just seeking to understand, we are here to transform. A soft murmur of affirmation swept across the group. Each person leaned in, drawn by the sincerity in her tone. Mary felt the weight of their hopes and dreams resting lightly on her shoulders, as if her words could lift the burdens of their hearts. Let us take a moment, she suggested, to reflect not just on our fears, but on the promises that God has whispered to us through our lives. She paused, her gaze steady. Let us acknowledge the miracles we have already witnessed. Can we recount them together? Voices began to rise, crackling with excitement, as memories poured forth like a gentle stream. A mother spoke of her child, healed against all odds. An older gentleman recounted the harvest that came when it seemed most impossible. Each story was a thread, weaving a tapestry of faith filled with goddess fingerprints. Then a young boy, brimming with innocent courage, raised his hand. What if we reach for even bigger miracles? His question hung in the air, brightening the eyes of those around him. What if we ask for things we can't even imagine? A warm chuckle escaped from Mary, but it wasn't dismissive. Instead, it was filled with reverence for the child's untainted faith. Yes, our God is the God of the impossible. He delights in stretching our understanding, in challenging us to step beyond the ordinary. The crowd erupted into a chorus of amens, their voices ringing like a celestial choir. Mary's heart swelled, a flood of gratitude crashing over her. This was how faith should feel. She grasped the moment, allowing divine energy to flow through her words. Let us write those dreams down. Acknowledge them before our God. For what we declare in faith we build upon. When we ask boldly, we open ourselves to His abundant life. In that sacred space, they began to list their prayers of expectation. Each word was like a lit candle, shining brightly against the backdrop of doubt. The air thickened again, and the presence of the Holy Spirit descended like morning dew. A hush fell over them, a serene silence that urged introspection. Clarity emerged among the villagers. They realized that for every expectation, work was required. But how do we prepare for what God is about to do? A voice questioned, the uncertainty palpable. Through unity, Mary replied, feeling the fervent truth of her words. We must stay connected, lifting each other as we pursue our visions. A community rooted in love and collaboration can embrace any challenge. We cannot do this alone. As her declaration sank in, a profound understanding washed over the crowd. They were indeed greater together than as individuals. Mary smiled as she felt the Spirit intertwining their hearts, a bond of hope stronger than any fear. The night wore on, and as each person pledged their commitment to the vision, a new realization ignited. God was inviting them into the next chapter not simply as a collective, but as a family. The journey is before us, Mary said, her voice rising with the power of their shared resolve. But there is still one question left. How do we stay prepared when the challenges arise, ready for the miracles to come? The unanswered echo hung in the cool night air, wrapping around them like the stars above a mystery divinely orchestrated, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The lanterns glimmered like stars, matching the sparkling eyes of the villagers. An expectancy hung in the air, thick and rich, as they pondered Mary's question. Each heart beat with a quiet yearning, hoping for guidance and reassurance. Friends, Mary continued, her voice unyielding, to remain prepared, we must embrace 3 sacred steps. These steps are not mere actions. They are pathways of our hearts leading us closer to God's plan. A gentle nod of understanding rippled through the crowd. They leaned closer, eager to absorb every word. First, she began, we must open our hearts to receive. Each of us carries burdens and dreams alike, but are we truly ready to receive what God has for us? Open hearts invite divine wisdom. It's about shedding doubt and embracing trust. A woman in the front wiped away tears, her heart resonating deeply with this truth. Mary saw her pain, an unspoken ache that transformed into hope with every syllable Mary spoke. When we release our grip on worries, we create space for God's blessings to flow in. As she spoke, more villagers began to nod, the atmosphere charged with faith. The second step, Mary continued, is to listen. In stillness, we find clarity. How can we hear God's voice in chaos? We must carve out time for prayer and reflection. Influence from the outside world can drown out the gentle whispers from within. Silence the noise. Seek His presence. A child's laughter broke the moment, lightening the mood. It was as if heaven itself played a reminder joy is also part of this journey. Mary smiled, recalling the boy's innocent courage from earlier. Lastly, she said, her voice rising in vitality, we must act in faith. Dreams that sit idly in our hearts are mere seeds waiting to sprout. When we step forward, even in uncertainty, we cultivate those seeds with our actions. God honors faith. Every small step we take in alignment with our dreams counts. The energy shifted, and hands began to clasp together. There was an undeniable connection among them, an assurance that they were not alone in their pursuit. They had all responded, yes, not just in words, but in hearts and intentions. Remember the boy? Mary inspired, her voice warm. His faith challenged the limitations of our imaginations. What if we dedicated our steps to dreams bigger than ourselves? Dreams that stretch our understanding of what is possible. Excitement bubbled among the villagers, a mixture of determination and joyful expectation. They were energized to dream, each moment woven into the next, like a symphony inviting all to sing along. Then, a deep silence enveloped them. The air seemed to quiver, as if awaiting a special revelation. The lanterns flickered again, casting mysterious shadows and inviting all to lean in closer. Will God really act in our lives? A voice whispered, uncertainty brimming with hope. Is it really that easy? Mary felt the weight of the question settle beautifully in the sacred space. She took a breath, preparing to respond with a blend of truth and revelation. The ease lies in surrender, dear friends. When we give our dreams to God, we are set free to embrace the remarkable. The wonder of that night felt like the dawn breaking open a fresh beginning. But she paused, drawing the villagers' attention back to her earnest gaze. What happens when we falter? When discouragement seeps in, will we still hold on? Will we still trust? The crowd remained wrapped in contemplation, a collective heartbeat awaiting its next revelation. The stage was set, the anticipation palpable. A whisper of divine mystery lingered in the air. What would unfold in the journey ahead? What miracles would emerge through their act of faith? It was clear a pivotal moment awaited them. Mary felt the weight of the moment, the eyes of the villagers fixed upon her, eager for illumination. She lowered her voice, inviting intimacy. When we falter, it's part of the journey. Every faithful heart faces shadows. But hear us, the beauty God uses those moments to shape us into something stronger. Around the circle, nervous glances met knowing smiles. Each person recalled trials that had almost stolen their hope. Yet, there they stood vibrant, united, ready to embrace what lay ahead. Let me share a story. Mary spoke softly, her demeanor steady like a lighthouse. There was once a man called Thomas. He walked with Jesus yet doubted the resurrection. He needed proof. What happened next? Jesus appeared and offered him his wounds. In his doubt, Thomas discovered profound faith. Sometimes our faltering becomes the ground for the strongest testimonies. Whispers of recognition filled the air. Many villagers gathered fragments of their stories, moments where hope felt lost yet emerged anew. A woman behind Mary raised her hand, brimming with emotion. And what if our doubt leads us away? What then? Mary's heart warmed as she nodded, responding with grace. Ah, sweet sister, God is relentless in his love. Even when we wander, he follows, guiding us back. Our distractions can't outpace his grace. Each day, each breath, is an invitation to return. The crowd sighed collectively, inspired by her words that painted faith as a gentle embrace rather than a strict path. Hope swayed like the flickering flames that reflected soft, golden light. But how do we rise back in faith? Another voice chimed in, a hint of urgency lacing the question. Through community, Mary emphasized, her spirit ignited with fervor. We are not meant to walk alone. When one struggles, let the others lift them. When one rejoices, let it resound in collective joy. Together we are bound by the grace of God. She swept her arm towards the villagers, sensing a current of unity growing stronger. Let us make a pact. If we see a brother or sister struggling, we will remind them of their worth. We will hold each other accountable. We will be the hands and feet of Christ in each other's lives. The atmosphere thickened with resolve, a sacred bond taking root. Hearts opened wider, encouraging each other's dreams and aspirations. Mary noted how fingertips brushed together as hands clasped in a fresh understanding of fellowship. Then, just as she was about to speak again, a gentle wind swept through the gathering, rustling the leaves above, whispering secrets that beckoned to be uncovered. Mary's heart raced as she turned her gaze skyward, sensing a divine presence moving among them. Let us seek that divine voice, she declared, her words stirring excitement. I invite you to listen once more. Here, under the canopy of stars, what is God speaking to your heart? In the silence that followed, villagers closed their eyes, tilting their heads as if straining to hear a melody from afar. Some smiled as revelation washed over them, while others clasped their hands tighter, hearts trembling with anticipation. As the lanterns cast soft glows, stories unfolded in the hearts of many. Visions of families restored, projects blossoming, and futures bright filled the atmosphere. Mary breathed deep, allowing herself to imagine the wondrous works God was preparing. And then, from the back of the crowd, a voice broke through. A young boy who had been quiet until then. Will we be brave enough to share our gifts? The question echoed deeply. Would they summon the courage to step into the unknown? Would they dare to trust the call that stirred within? Mary smiled softly, knowing this was the essence of their message. Let us dare, dear friends. Let us walk forward into the miraculous, embracing uncertainty as we do so. So stayed a moment, steeped in sacred potential. What gifts lay unseen? waiting for just the right moment to emerge. The night held countless mysteries, rich with promise. As they began to murmur amongst themselves, one thing became clear. They were only beginning their journey. The excitement of stepping into the unknown blended seamlessly with their shared calling, binding them together as they awaited the unfolding of the marvelous. What would God unveil in the next chapter of their faith voyage? What courageous steps awaited each person, poised for the miraculous? Hope lingered in the air, inviting them to commit to action and to the path ahead. The night air hung thick with anticipation, a palpable energy wrapping around the villagers as they exchanged glances filled with excitement and hope. Mary could feel the rhythm of their hearts beating together, a blending of individual dreams into a collective pulse. Each person was a note in a symphony yet to be realized, and it thrilled her spirit. "Let us remain open," Mary said gently, drawing everyone's attention again. "Let us create a space where God can move among us in these moments of sharing. Who among us can offer their gifts? Who is ready to step into the light?" A silence brewed in the gathering, charged with possibility. Then, a man named Jacob broke the stillness. He was known for his clever hands, always crafting wooden toys for the children in the village. "I've often held back, thinking my gifts too small. But I long to share them. I want to teach the children how to create, how to see the wonder in what seems simple." Applause erupted, hearts swelling with encouragement. There was something electrifying about hearing someone take the first step. Mary's heart leaped at the courage it took for Jacob to express those words. "Yes," she exclaimed, "your hands are a reflection of God's creativity, and through you, the children will learn to embrace their own gifts." Another voice rang out, soft yet steady. "I have a story to tell. It belonged to Clara, a woman with wise eyes who had walked through many storms in her life. I want to share my journey of healing after loss. It may not seem like much, but if my words can bring hope to someone else, then I will speak." Gasps of admiration echoed around the circle. Clara's grief had been so burdensome, yet now she wanted to transform it into a beacon of hope. "Oh, Clara," Mary sighed, her heart warming with gratitude. "By sharing your journey, you give others permission to share theirs. You show them that they are not alone." The night continued to unfold, voices rising and mingling, a tapestry of dreams and ambitions weaving through the air. Then came another, bold yet hesitant. "I can sing," a young woman named Eliana said, her voice barely breaking the surface. "But I've always concealed that part of me, afraid of judgment." "Let your song be heard," Mary encouraged, her heart swelling. "When you sing, you bring healing to the world around you. Just as the evening breeze carries the scent of flowers, your voice will carry joy into weary hearts." A chorus of assent rippled through the villagers, a shower of love enveloping Eliana as she found her confidence. She stood, her eyes glistening, ready to share the gift that had been so dear and so as each person shared. Mary marveled at how the shadows of doubt began to dissipate. In allowing themselves to step forward, the villagers kindled a spark of divine promise that illuminated the path ahead. They were becoming a tapestry of faith, thread by thread. "Look around, dear friends," Mary said, her voice resonating with conviction. "Each gift shared is a glimpse of something greater. We're not only stepping into our own identities but revealing our Creator's heart to the world." Then, a hush fell over the crowd, the air heavy with a new kind of query. What else lay ahead? What enormities awaited them as they boldly ventured forward with their unique offerings? "What if we don't know what our gifts are?" whispered a young girl, her face painted with uncertainty. Mary felt the weight of the question, sensing the vulnerability woven into it. "Ah, my sister," she replied tenderly, "that's part of the journey as well. Sometimes we must take steps into the unknown before the path reveals itself. But know this, our willingness to seek, to share, is a gift in itself." The villagers exchanged glances, hearts ignited by the call to discover what God had wrapped within them. As the candles flickered, casting shadows that danced among the trees, hope seemed to weave itself into the very fabric of the night. They were on the cusp of something extraordinary, drawn together not solely by fate but by divine orchestration. And with each gift that surfaced, the mystery deepened. What would they uncover together as they bravely sought their true selves? What would happen when each soul dared to shine? With divine expectancy hanging thick in the air, Mary felt a surge of faith, urging them all onward into the sacred unknown. In the quiet stirred by faith, Mary sensed the pulse of unity enveloping them like an embrace. Each heartbeat, each whispered word, formed a sacred rhythm that resonated throughout the gathering. She stood tall, feeling the courage of the villagers rise and swell, a buoyant spirit carrying them to the edge of something divine. "Let us be still for a moment," she said, raising her hands to beckon silence. The flames of the candles flickered, casting soft light over expectant faces. "Let us listen to what God is saying. He may speak through a thought, a feeling, or perhaps a word shared among us." Eyes closed, the villagers took a collective breath, surrendering to the stillness. In that sacred space, Mary felt a gentle warmth envelop her heart. It was the kind of warmth that assured her they were not alone. The Holy Spirit was among them, fostering awakenings and illuminating what lay hidden. "Now, let us open our hearts," Mary encouraged, her voice a soft whisper. "Let us invite our Lord to inspire us. Is there a gift waiting to be revealed? Are there dreams yet to be spoken? Now, in this moment, speak your truth." Suddenly, a soft voice filled the silence. It was Peter, a quiet man who often stood in the background, but tonight his spirit seemed to blaze brightly, unencumbered by the shadows of doubt. "I've always felt a connection to the earth," he said, his eyes reflecting newfound light. "I tend the village gardens, but sometimes I wonder if there's more I can offer. Perhaps I can use that connection to teach others about growing and nurturing life, teaching them about stewardship." Cheers erupted, filling the night air with applause and affirmation. Mary's heart soared. "Yes, Peter, your gift of nurturing speaks of God's creation. You have a profound opportunity to show us how to tend not only to the gardens but to our own spirits." Just then, Isabel, a mother whose laughter had often echoed through the marketplace, stepped forward, her voice trembling. "I can offer prayers. I have spent years stitching together words of hope in my heart. I believe prayer can change the course of our lives," she said, trembling with emotion. Prayer is the lifeblood of faith," Mary beamed. "Isabel, your gift of intercession will weave a powerful thread through our community. We need these prayers to lift us up and draw us closer to God." In that moment of exchange, they felt the air shift. A unity that felt woven by heavenly hands descended upon them, knitting their hearts ever closer through shared purpose and divine revelation. Mary surveyed the vibrant circle of souls, each eager to share, to extend their gifts. "As you discover your sacred calling, remember that each offering is valued. Do not shy away from the divine tasks set before you, however small or daunting they may seem." With renewed energy, the villagers began speaking forth their desires and dreams, each one a distinct thread adding to the rich tapestry of their gathering. The joy was contagious, a spirit of expectancy enveloping them, lighting their path forward. They discussed how they could collectively share their gifts with one another and the wider world, sewing a new fabric of community. But as conversation flourished, uncertainty lingered in the corners of some hearts. "What if our contributions seem insignificant?" someone murmured. Mary smiled gently. "In the hands of God, even the smallest seed can yield a bountiful harvest. It is in the going forth that we discover our true potential." As the gathering flowed into deeper discussions, a sense of forward motion ignited within them all, a readiness to explore and embrace the uncharted territories of their faith. Suddenly, an even deeper stillness gripped the crowd as several villagers felt a stirring inside, an unnamed beckoning to surrender to something greater. "What is the next step?" one hesitantly asked, eyes wide with wonder. With eyes bright and spirit alight, Mary replied, "Not all will know their path immediately, but trust that God will reveal, step by step. He walks with us, revealing his purpose as we move in faith." Her voice trailed off, the weight of anticipation filling the air. What more awaited them in their journey ahead? What profound divine invitation was poised just beyond their embrace? The minutes unfurled as the villagers exchanged glances, each face awash in a mixture of hope and trepidation. The flames flickered like dancing spirits, echoing the stirring hearts and igniting deeper questions within each soul present. "Let us deliberate for a moment," Mary suggested, a twinkle of inspiration flickering in her eyes. "What if we took a pause to seek direction, silent but active listening, letting God whisper into our spirit?" A soft murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Eyes lowered, they took a deep, cleansing breath together. The air felt thick with anticipation, almost electric in its stillness, as if the very heavens were holding their breath alongside them as they bowed their heads. The world around them faded. In that focused quiet, Mary felt the pull of something beyond words, like inkling thoughts begging for expression. A vision emerged clearly in her mind. A bridge of connection between every heart gathered. Then, unexpectedly, Esther, a grandmother known for her gentle laughter, spoke up. "I see paths branching from that bridge, paths that lead to those outside this place. We have gifts, and there are souls out there longing for the hopes we carry. We ought to go, to carry our light beyond these walls." Mary's heart raced. Could this be the nudge they needed? "Esther, I love that image. Each of us holds a unique lantern. Together, they can light a way through the darkest nights and the deepest valleys." The villagers nodded, their eyes brightening as the metaphor sparked a new excitement. Jack, a young farmer, chimed in, "But how do we reach those who are lost and weary? What if they don't receive us?" Mary stepped forward, her voice steady, yet inviting. "Faith, dear friends, is a journey, not a one-time destination. We'll show them love, real love. There is grace in reaching out, even if the first step feels heavy." Suddenly, an idea rippled through the group, palpable and infectious. They began to share their visions, hosting community events, planting gardens for neighbors, and creating prayer circles in their own homes. Every suggestion felt like a building block toward a collective mission. "Let us share our gathered gifts, and perhaps even invite those skeptical hearts to partake in our journey," Isabel suggested. "What if we created a welcoming environment where questions could flow freely?" "Yes, like a marketplace of faith," Peter added, energizing the group with his enthusiasm. "We could set the tables, share meals while we talk about our hopes, and who knows, perhaps God will plant seeds in hearts not yet open." Laughter and excitement broke out, knitting the villagers even closer as they spun together their aspirations of connection. Then, a hushed awe fell among them as Mary raised her hands again. "Friends, let us not overlook the heart of this initiative. It is God's work through us. As we take these steps, we must remain anchored in His love, asking for guidance." Each villager felt the weight of their calling, and yet an exhilaration surged through them. This bond, this commitment felt blessed, each soul teeming with purpose as they envisioned tangible actions flowing from their vibrant love. But just as they began to outline their next steps, a sudden flicker interrupted their plans. An otherworldly glow emanated from the heart of the gathering. The villagers paused, breath caught in their throats. What message was being sent from beyond? Mary's heart raced. Could it be a confirmation of their path forward? "What does this light stir within our spirits?" she breathed, sensing that their moment of diving deeper into divine revelation was at hand. Could they be ready to step beyond their fears and become a beacon of hope for those yearning around them? What awaited them in this sacred space of companionship and purpose? As the ethereal glow intensified, enveloping the villagers in warmth, an overwhelming sense of divine presence filled the air. Murmurs of awe swept through the crowd, eyes shining with expectation and reverence. Mary felt her heart race. The sacred unfolding felt imminent, urging them toward deeper truths. She stepped forward, arms outstretched as though to embrace the very essence of what was emerging. "This light, it is a call, friends. Our gathering has stirred something mighty within the heart of God." A tremor of excitement coursed through the group. Faces lit with wonder, each person sensing the powerful invitation to step further into faith's embrace. "This is our moment," Mary declared, her voice echoing through the quiet, like the sound of rushing waters. Revelation poured forth. igniting dreams once locked in the shadows. Let us surrender our fears and proclaim our purpose. With these words, she felt the very fabric of their community weave tighter, stitching each heart into a quilt of shared calling and destiny. One young woman lifted her voice, punctured by emotion. What if we create spaces and outreach for those lost? We could hold open gatherings, invite everyone to share their stories and gifts. Yes, Clara echoed, her spirit alight with inspiration. We can hold festivals of faith, a celebration that honors every unique contribution. We will show them that they belong. Every suggestion was met with applause, enthusiasm rising like a tide. Mary felt the swell of their unity, a divine choreography binding them to the will of heaven. We will be God's hands on earth, she exclaimed as plans began to unfold. A profound peace settled over them. This mission was no longer a mere idea. It was the heartbeat of God, calling them into action. Each villager shared visions of love, joy, and connection, crafting a mosaic of hope through their willingness to serve. In the midst of this revelation, the light pulsed gently, beckoning them toward one another. Hands clasped, smiles exchanged, the bond strengthened. We are not merely a village. We are a family, united by the grace of divine purpose. Mary encouraged, voice lifted, urging them to embrace the abundance awaiting them. Among them, Isabel reached out, her eyes bright with fervor. We can hold prayer circles, not just for ourselves but for the weary outside these walls. Let our voices weave a net of hope that catches those in despair. Exactly, said Jacob, his passion rising. Imagine the children gathering to learn, not just of crafts, but of their value in God's eyes. They need to see that every small gift can illuminate the world. A chorus of agreement erupted, excitement mingling with faith as they envisioned the rippling effects of their plans. The village would step boldly into the surrounding lands, inviting others into the warmth of community. The flickering light grew radiant, filling their hearts with assurance. This is a new beginning, Mary proclaimed, but it will require our dedication. Will we commit to each other, to God's calling and to the dreams stirring within us? With fervent hearts, each villager pondered Mary's question, contemplating their commitment to the journey that lay ahead. One by one, hands shot into the air, resolute and ready. Yes, we will be bold. We will create, share, and love without reservation. The energy in the circle surged, elevating their spirits and igniting a vision of the vibrant tapestry. They were weaving together a tapestry full of miracles, grace, and God's unending goodness. Together, they prayed, a collective voice rising like incense to the heavens, sealing their commitment. Each word was woven with strength and fervor, an offering to God. We are ready, Lord. Show us the way. As they concluded their prayer, a tranquil silence embraced them once more. The light around them flickered softly, and then faded into a gentle glow, signaling the shift into a new season of their communal journey. Mary felt the holy peace wash over her. The uncertainty had been replaced by clarity. They wouldn't just be keepers of hope. They would be the light shining brightly in a world often dulled by doubt and fear. They were embarking on a divine adventure that began with trust, blossomed through love, and would flourish under the guiding hand of God. As they embraced one another, overwhelming gratitude filled the air, the realization that they were not just individuals with dreams, but a collective force of faith bound to transform their village and beyond. Now is the time, Mary said, her heart brimming with joy. Let us shine brightly. Let us go forth with courage. And so, they stepped into the night armed not only with dreams but hearts ablaze with commitment and love. The adventure awaited, infused now with purpose. With the sweet breeze wrapping around them and the stars shining brightly above, they walked fearless into the blessing of their new beginning. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation.